welcome to Chandler in Focus. I'm Councilmember Rene Lopez, and today we're going to be talking about the college prep programs that are being offered by the Chandler Unified School District. My guest today is Dr. Craig Gilbert, and he is the Assistant Superintendent of Secondary Education for the Chandler Unified School District. Welcome, and thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
First, let's start off with a little bit of your background. Give us some of your history.
Well, I been in Arizona since 1987 after coming here from California to go to college at the University of Arizona. Once I finished school, I was fortunate to get a teaching position at Canyon del Oro High School in Tucson, and I was there for a little over 5 years until moving to Chandler. Upon that time, I was able to get a job in the district. I was teaching PE and health, and also had coached a number of sports, and I was able to get a job and start out at Willis. I was at Willis for a year, and then I moved to Hamilton and taught at Hamilton for a year, and then it just moved like gangbusters after that because I became an administrator my third year in the district, and for 5 years I was an assistant principal, with the first year being a dean at Hamilton High School, and then I was the opening principal of Payne Junior High.
Oh, wow.
I was there for 2 years, and then it continued to move, and I ended up at the district, and I'm now starting my 11th year at the district office.
So 11 years in administration, but you've been with the teaching for many before.
So 11 years at the district office. I just finished my 19th year in the district, and 17 of those 19 years I've been an administrator.
Wow. Well, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
So what does your role entail as the Assistant Superintendent of Secondary Education?
Well, I deal with day-to-day operations of what happens in our 7th through 12th grade schools. So all of our high schools, our junior highs, our alternative schools. The online school falls under my umbrella. I am in the superintendent's cabinet as we work through different projects or things that we're moving through in the district. I work with our athletic director, who's also over discipline, so that falls under my umbrella. Meg Giannicello, who is our director over safety, school safety, as well as career and technical education programs, and a number of other areas, all falls underneath that umbrella. So if there's something going on in the secondary, at some point I'm involved in somehow.
So you deal a lot with the operations, like you said, day-to-day. Do you deal with the curriculum also? Or is
I do work with curriculum. Prior to Dr. Strom moving into the curriculum area, I shared some of that responsibility with Mr. Narducci, and so I still work with all of our course catalogs, new courses being offered. I work directly with the schools as their focus is to bring on new programs. So I still get involved in quite a number of those things. I do projections for staffing. So in the beginning of the year, I work through and make sure that the schools are staffed, and I work with them. Open enrollment falls under my umbrella. It's a number of things.
So you really know what's going on.
Well,
so
I try to. I try to.
So one of the reasons I really wanted to have you here and really have a deeper discussion, recently we've been working together on the Chandler Chamber Education Workforce Coalition. So we've kind of been talking a lot about the initiatives that was set forth by Governor Doug Ducey for the Achieve 60 AZ programs that he wanted to implement. You want to give us a little bit of background on that, some of the goals and the objectives for that, the AZ 60?
Sure. And it was in 2016 that the governor established an educational initiative to achieve higher education within our communities. With that being said, based on data that came from the governor's office, one of the things that was shown is 42% of the adults in Arizona, their education beyond high school, there was only 42% of the population in Arizona that had education past high school. So with that, they were looking to make sure that we are preparing our students to get a certification or a degree beyond that. And so with that focus, it was to make sure that adults ages 25 to 64 would increase in certification as well as diplomas, because what they looked at is even though that we have less actually having the degrees, within the next 5 years, is going to be beyond jobs. 70% of the jobs are going to need something beyond a high school diploma.
Right.
So with that, they focused in on not only 4 goals, but strategies. And in those strategies, one is strengthening the K-12 pipeline. So making sure that we increase college readiness and the graduation rate for our students. Also completing credentials, making sure that there's access for students and it's easier to be able to complete or find the means and have be exposed to the opportunities that are out there. Also increase access, making sure that raising awareness for students, because I think you run into at times students not knowing they actually have an opportunity, and there's the barriers that they may think that are out there in front of them truly aren't barriers if they are aware with what is available to them. Also aligning with workforce, making sure that engaging the business and government and education to collaborate in order to move forward.
Okay. So, and as part of this workforce, what we've been working on is, you with the chamber, we're working together to close that gap. The identified gap of the employers that are hiring these kids either right out of high school, even with certificates that we may be pushing towards. In the K through 12, some of the programs that you guys are working on, we're going to get some details some more, but what are you guys doing specifically at this USD to helping align your seniors graduating with workforce needs?
Well, one of the things that has been very helpful to me is being on the board through the chamber and really engaging and meeting a lot of our business partners that are within the community that I didn't know prior to that. One of the things that sparked in working with a couple of our community members was to really focus on how can we connect with the community. We have a lot of partnerships through education and business and our nonprofits, but it was how do we reach out and bridge the gap to have the conversation? Because until you have the conversation, you really don't understand where the gaps are. Yep. So one of the things that we did was we developed a pamphlet that we have in regards to our workforce development. And what it has in there is what are our goals as a district, but it also has a call to action in here where it allows companies to actually reach out to us and either be mentors or come in and speak in classrooms or just have that conversation where we're collaborating to find out what are their needs and what is it that we can supply based on what we're doing within our education. So in doing that, that allows our students to be able to engage in companies that they may not have had that opportunity to, whether it's in the classroom or actually going to the company and understanding what the need is or what the requirement is in order to get in that field. And so by starting with making sure that we're connecting with our students and the business community, as well as we have a very strong career and technical education program. Meg Genesello runs that, and she is very strong in what we do, and we have a strong footprint within in the state and what we do through our CTE programs, but also whether it's dual enrollment and making sure that we're connecting with our community.
Now, as you mentioned, though, and bringing those companies in, and that's one of the goals, again, of that Workforce Coalition, is educating the students on not just the specific silos of maybe what their parents do or their grandparents do. There's an engineer, but understanding there's a very wide spectrum when it comes to the support structures that are needed and other design roles, employment. It's not just that one, being in HR. There's a wide spectrum in a company, and bringing these small businesses, like you said, it shows those niche people may be interested. These kids may be interested in and not realize that they can actually do that as a career.
And what's important for us is to make sure we're linking the connection to the business as well as the areas of the Achieve 60. For example, we are approaching 35% acceleration all the way down in math, all the way down into first grade. About 30% of our 8th graders are in algebra 1. Oh, wow. So it's giving those opportunities for students and different options. And so we're utilizing, those type of things. And we look at our graduation rate. We're proud of our graduation rate. We're usually hovering between 92 and 93%, as a district with our graduation rate. So it's those type of focuses that we want to make sure that we give them opportunity and we give them access and give them a path in order to have choices.
Yeah, good. And so one of the big supporters is the Helios Foundation, Education Foundation, that's been helping out a lot at the CUSD. So you can give me a little bit more background about, again, Helios, what they've been doing with you guys, and the program that you alluded to earlier with College Knowing and Going.
Well, we've been very fortunate because the last 6 years we've been working with Helios, and they are strong for education. They're out there making sure that students have access, opportunity. Not only are they in Arizona, they're also in Florida. And we've been able to benefit, and our students and families have been able to benefit, because prior to the College Knowing and Going, which I'll share in just a moment, we've been working with Helios, and they've been a strong supporter of Chandler. And we've been able to give the ACT exam to all of our juniors every year for the last 6 years, which is a very expensive.
It's at all 4 high schools, right?
All of our high schools. Every junior in our district has the opportunity to take the ACT exam at no cost in their junior year. And so not only is it give students an opportunity so that they take this exam and then find out, because they may think, well, I'm not going to be able to go to college. And then they take this exam and find out, I had no idea. I'm strong in math, stronger than I thought I was, or those type of things. And so because of that, we've had the opportunity for the last 6 years for our students to take the ACT at no cost. What then moved forward is Helios in what they do, and looking at ways to increase education within the community. They spearheaded the College Knowing and Going initiative, and they reached out to many districts within the state. But fortunately, because we were already a partner with them, we were also invited to be a part of this. And what this initiative is really focusing on access and opportunity for kids to have an opportunity to go to college, or let's just say post-high school, because we know it's not necessarily always college, it's trade, it's those certifications, it's those type of things. And so what that program does is, one, it's connected to every junior taking the ACT, and that's still, funding source is still there in order to assist us. Two is every student, the goal is every student in all of this, is every student to fill out at least one college application. And two, for every student to fill out the FAFSA to look at the possibility.
Explain the FAFSA.
It's the free application for federal aid, student aid. So when you're looking to go to college and you're looking to see, do I qualify for scholarships? Do I qualify for grants? And so, but you'll have some families that may not fill it out thinking, well, we're not going to be able to get any money. The important piece is there's a window for filling it out. And if you don't, and then you have an unfortunate situation where now you don't have the money, you've passed up that time. So we feel it's important for all students to fill it out, because also some of that information that's put into that application is also moved into the college application. So it just makes it a little easier. But it's those connections within this College Knowing and Going, because sometimes what we're seeing in some data has to do with, well, why aren't students going to college? Well, some of them feel they can't pay for it. Some feel they're not smart enough to do it. Some feel it's just out of their reach. So if you can at least help them, prepare an application, prepare the FAFSA, take the ACT, now you have 3 big pieces that they have an opportunity to review on their own, and their parents have an opportunity to review. And it's because of this initiative that Helios is pushing forth that I'm quite sure that there are a number of students now that will be going to college that did not think that they were going to.
It opens, like you said, it opens that door for them they never thought they were going to be able to get through. But by just cracking a little bit, they realize, hey, this may be something. And as you mentioned before, it's not just college, the trades, telling kids that, it's not just about getting, a degree. It's about, doing something that you can, and maybe even working on. And we talked about that sometimes in the question, that there's businesses out there that are looking for trades. And it's like, hey, you don't have to do this as your lifelong career. You do it as a trade, make money to go through school and do something else you may want to do. Like you mentioned before. And again, not always 4-year degrees, right? I mean, we're trying to get these students in and educated even with an associate.
Yeah, you'll have we have students that are moving into the two-year college and then going to university. Some are going into for 2 years, and they're moving on to other things, whether it's a trade. We have students that are within our high schools that are earning their their CNA, their certified nursing assistant. So we have that currently now within the high school, and they can take that and build on it depending on what area they're looking to go
Yeah, I
into.
know I'm kind of tooting our own horn here, but I'll tell you that it was one of the reasons a lot of people moved to Chandler is because of the schools. Whenever realtors talk about what it's location based on the schools,
Yeah.
usually. And Chandler Unified is, again, like you said, one of the best in the state, if not the best, right?
Yes. Well,
And
that's our goal is to be the best in the state and the best in the country. So
that's great. And these programs help. I mean, it just further proves why
very
we do
very
that,
much
right?
so. And my kids are in Chandler, and then so I'm fortunate the education that my kids are
Same
receiving.
here. Both of my kids went to Payne. That I think they were maybe a little after. I don't think they were there when you opened it, but maybe a year or two after.
Okay.
But that's great. So, some of the measurements that you all do associated with the freshmen in meeting some of these requirements. I understand that you have some metrics also that you guys track these students through their secondary education.
Well, one of the things that we really focus on as a district is our Journey 2025 strategic plan. And that ranges from third grade reading and how our students are doing to college credits earned, to scholarship money earned, to the performance on ACT as a complete group. ACT is those that just are the select that usually will take it on the weekend that is college focused. They'll take it more than once. But one of the things that was real important to us is we know that students struggle with staying in school depending upon how many credits they have. And if they fall behind, it becomes a uphill battle.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we measure is all of our freshmen, the expectation is they have 5.5 credits by the end of their freshman year. That is not only a measure that we have on our strategic plan as a board, it's also in the principal's evaluation portion of what we're looking at. And the nice thing that we have is there's a lot of opportunities in order to help students that are struggling. So with that, that's one of the measures that we use. Another piece that we look at is we give the ACT Aspire, which is a component of the ACT, but it's given down in the junior high. And we do it in 7th grade. We used to do the Explore in 8th grade. The Explore went away, and now the ACT Aspire is there. And so that's part of our metric that the board measures us on as schools in our strategic plan, but also it's utilized at the junior high so that we can see how students do on that test. It allows the school to see where they might have some deficiencies or some areas that need to be enhanced, or it may show they have some strength in some areas that they can accelerate on that never showed. The high school is able to use that same information when those students move from junior high into high school and putting them into different classes that are available and counseling them as to the different opportunities that are there.
So we want to keep on challenging, right? We want to make sure that they're taking the
yes.
classes that are challenging
Yes.
and then to move along. And it builds on itself. So is the ACT Aspire, is that kind of like a equivalent to a PSAT or would it be more I guess before?
I'd say when you look at the alignment of it, you have the ACT Aspire. Then I should know the next one up. There's 3 different exams that you can take, and then you have the Aspire. Then there's one that you can take in 9th grade, and then you have the ACT. But all of them build on itself.
Okay.
So one of the things we do is we look at now that we've taken this test a number of years, we can look at how students did in the Aspire, and then also look at how did they do when they took the 11th grade. In 11th grade, did they take the ACT?
And you mentioned about the credits, and that's one thing I'm dumbfounded by the graduates. Again, went to the Perry High School graduation last year, and the number of students graduating with associate's degrees, the CNAs, the level of credits that they're coming out with, the tens of millions of dollars in scholarships.
Yes,
Like you said, it is amazing nowadays, these kids. And starting in Algebra 1 and 10th grade,
No, I'll
crazy.
tell you, we've been very fortunate in our students. We're very fortunate because we have great families and great students, and everyone is trying to achieve. And they're starting at different places, but they're all working in the direction. And one of the things you mentioned in regards to credits is, our dual credit within our district, that is one of our metrics. That's one of our measures that our board has for us. And I believe last year we had students earn over 15,000 credits in all of our schools by the time they graduated college credits.
No, that's a lot. It's insane. So one of the things you also hinted at is the graduation rate within the Chandler Unified. Again, top notch. It's up there. Some people may think, those missing percentages. What are we doing, or what are you all doing to close that gap? But there are some built-in. Unfortunately, there's some built-in kind of stopgaps that don't allow you to get and quote unquote achieve 100%. But you expand more upon some of the numbers and some of the metrics that go in behind that graduation rate.
Well, I think, when we look at what we're doing to make sure our students are prepared for post high school, we are also making sure that starting down in kindergarten with what we're seeing in our elementary schools, they're doing exceptional work. Our elementary teachers are working really hard in what they're doing, making sure that their students are prepared when they move to the junior high and the junior high onto the high school. Because of that, the goal is interventions at elementary, making sure students, when they go from 6th to 7th grade, they're prepared for 7th grade. But also making sure that we have programs in place in order to help students, to give them options. You'll have students that they're not looking to be in the large school. They want a small setting. It may be online. It may be a combination of online. We have students that might be, that are fencers, or they're in hockey, and so they might be on the brick and mortar school for 3 classes and they're in the online for another 3 classes, because everybody doesn't look the same and their desires and the things that they're doing do not look the same. And so we have a number of programs for students in order to make sure that they're prepared so that they are graduating, whether it's we call it our Lift Lab, which is a computer-based program within all of our high schools in order to help students recover credit, whether it's our alternative school that we have in place and has been in place for a number of years. We have a campus that's on the Chandler Gilbert Community College campus that I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about later, because I think not only is the graduation piece in that, it's one of the reasons I think also we don't have our dropout rate as low as it is, because we have different options for students. We have different opportunities for students if they start to fall behind, which goes to the 9th graders having 5 credits, because it's in that, the data is showing it's in that 9th grade year. If they're behind,
got to catch it early.
It just continues to grow. So if every year you're behind credits, by the time you get to your junior or senior year, you're still too far away, and for some that's a hard mountain to climb.
And you talked a little bit about the online program too. I mean, because the Chandler Unified, you run the online program yourself, so it's within the school district. So and as times change, I mean, technology is changing, like you said. Some of these kids, the level of involvement and just the differences that family structure may have, or whatever it may be. I don't know is there any I guess the perception of going to classes online, it's really changed than it was 5, even 10 years ago, right?
Very much so. We've had our online program in place. I'd say now we're moving into our 5th or 6th year, and we started off slow, and we wanted to start off slow to make sure we had things in place and it was ready to move forward. But we have probably anywhere between 200 and 250 full-time students, which means they're just in the online. But then we'll probably have another 800 to 900 students just taking 1 or 3 or 2 or 3 classes within the program. And because of the way we've structured it, through proctoring our exams, getting approval through the NCAA to make sure those courses actually would be accepted by the universities. And we feel that we have a strong program moving forward. We even have AP classes that are approved through the College Board through our online program.
They can take college courses online.
They can take college courses.
So that's why wouldn't AP be in there too?
Exactly. I believe it was 2 years ago we had a student that graduated from the online and was accepted to Johns Hopkins.
Wow. Smart kids. It's amazing, these kids nowadays. So you talked about some of the other outside programs you're dealing with, CGCC. I believe we have some partnership with ASU.
Yes.
Any with U of A? I don't know that's too far down.
We actually have an engineering partnership with the U of A. There's an engineering class at Hamilton that's I think been in existence for I'd have to say 7 years, and we have students in a U of A engineering program taught by one of our teachers, but they're getting direct U of A credit in that. So we have a number of partnerships, whether it's with ICANN,
another great program.
ASU, we look at Chandler Gilbert Community College, YMCA, quite a bit, and it goes to the options that we believe is necessary for our students to be successful.
Yes, these kids are part of the community, and we all need to contribute into making sure they're on that good path, or
Yes.
getting a good education and then into a good career. That's great. So we talked a little bit about some of the great programs that are going on, the way that the CUSD is very well structured. What do you think it attributes to the great standing that CUSD has had for the last decade plus?
Well, I think it starts with your community. I think it starts with community support, because without community support, there are things you can't do. It makes it very difficult if you're always in an uphill battle if you don't have community support. But the other thing I would say is leadership. We're very fortunate that we have leadership that has staying power. Dr. Castile celebrated her 20th year as our superintendent last year. So when you look at that alone, and you look at the tenure of our board members, you can put something in place and actually see it through. If you have a lot of changeover in your administrative team, then every time you have a new leader comes in, then there's always changes to what may be the vision of that leader. And so then it becomes difficult to move forward. So we're on Journey 2025. We started Journey 2020. Well, as we moved through, it was time to update what we were looking at and saying, okay, now we need to look at Journey 2025. And where is that going to take us? And how is that going to prepare our students and make us the best district around?
That's great. I mean, and again, I think that is a good statement that transitions not just family stability, workplace stability, but a school stability, the leadership stability at the superintendent level and all of your administrative levels. I think that is probably one of the golden key to the success that you guys have had.
Yeah. Well, anytime I mention that our superintendent has been our superintendent for 20 years, outside of our CUSD circles, they're always shocked.
Yeah.
So it just shows the turnover that you can see in a district, whether it's the board or it's the superintendent.
And having a good superintendent.
Yes. Yes. I'm fortunate. I work for an exceptional one.
Yeah, it's great. So all the programs that we've talked about lately, are up to now, is every student able to enroll in these programs? How do they get involved? Where do they reach out to in order to say I want to enroll for the ACT, or where do they go?
Well, for the ACT, every student in our district takes the ACT in their junior year. So that we focus that information out. Parents know that that's coming, and some parents are appreciative because they know already they have one opportunity for their student to take the test, and it's going to be at no cost. But when it comes to the different programs that we have in place, it's through counselors. It could be through the Career Center. It could be the conversation with an administrator. Some of our programs we have students that we focus on, we're going to move you to this program, but other programs that maybe this might be a better fit based on what you're looking for. If a student is really focusing on a small setting and also wants to take college classes, CEC, Chandler Early College, which is on the Chandler Gilbert Community College campus, might be what's benefit for them, because now they can be taking their high school classes, completing their high school graduation requirements, and at the same time taking college classes on the community college campus. So counselors, the Career Center staff, every one of the things I will say is that we find very unique to Chandler is every one of our high school has a Career Center room with a staff member that focuses on helping students with applications, helping students look at scholarships, scholarship searches. Colleges come in and they send information out to students to say, these colleges are coming in today to share information. They get to the point where they know a lot of these students and their interest, that they'll send something to a student and say, you might be interested in this college because you've shared that you are interested in astronomy, or you're interested in the medical field, and they're coming in. And so we have those type of programs at every one of our high schools that, again, gives access and opportunity. That's a big piece, is access and opportunity for all students.
Good, thank you. So this is kind of a general question, but if a student were to walk up to you and say, Dr. Gilbert, don't know what I want to do for the rest of my life, what words of advice would you give them?
Well, I would first start by asking them, what are you passionate about? Because, you know, if you're going to get into a job and you're going to put time into getting education, whether it's through a university, through a trade, and then you're going to be spending your life doing that, I always ask, what are you passionate about? Because if you're not passionate about it, it's just going to be a job.
This is going to be a job.
Instead of something that you see as your career, that you're making a difference. And so I would start there. And then it would be, now let's research what is required. And that's one of the things that's important for us as we work with our students through our ECAP, which is our Education Career Action Plan. And we start it down in 7th grade because it's important that they start looking at what their interests are early, very early. Because if you get into the high school and you're in your sophomore year and you say, oh, now I want to be a doctor. Well, the question is, what science have you taken in order to prepare you for that? And you need to start early. So again, it's finding their passion and then connecting them. What I would have them seek out the counselor or the career person on a campus, but then I would have them do some research.
Okay. So a lot of the programs we talked about earlier, what if a parent wants to find out more information? Is there anything online or anybody they can call to get more information on these programs?
Yes, you can always call. You can always go online and you'll see all these programs on our main site. So if you go to our main site and you go to the drop down, you'll see all the names of all of our schools and the programs that we have in place. They'll be able to click on that and be able to find it no problem. The other way would be just to call my office, the secondary office at the district, and we'll be able to direct them wherever they need to go, no problem.
Good. So with just a few minutes left that we have, is there anything else or any other programs? We covered quite a few programs. Are there any programs we missed or anything else you'd like to add?
I just think that, again, when we look at education and what we're trying to do in Chandler, it's making sure that we're giving every one of our students the opportunity for post-high school. Some students may say, I'm not going to college, or I'm not looking to do anything right after high school, but that might be their thought in 7th grade. That might be their thought in 9th grade. It could even be their thought in 10th grade. But if we're not making sure that they have the minimum preparation to be able to go to college right out of high school, then we're not doing what we need to do to make sure that we're giving students options that they may not know they need until the time comes.
Like I say, it's all about options. That's great. Well, thank you again for all the input. I mean, and thank you for all the time and service that you've done at the schools. We really appreciate it.
Well,
our community helps.
Well, appreciate being able to share.
Thank you. That concludes our show for today. Thank you for watching for Chandler in Focus. I'm Councilmember Rene Lopez, and we'll see you next time.